Well, hello. Welcome to the Field of Streams, where I, your host, Janine McRae, bring you the tiny thoughts that stream from my brain and present them to you as though they're a special egg that, when spun on a highly polished marble surface, will rotate at a wicked speed for a good 10 minutes minimum. When it does eventually come to a stop, it'll glow with an incandescent light, then hatch to reveal the creature that holds the answer to life, the universe, and everything. And oh, what a day that will be when all is revealed to you and only you. Spoiler alert. The answer is redacted. Now, I can't promise you much with these improbables. Certainly not the answer to life. Anyway, I can promise you this. I won't keep you long. Time is precious, just like you. Maybe that's the answer. Anyway, okay, this episode. What I'm about to read to you was a post I wrote back in January of 2022. That sounds old. Yeah, I guess so, but it's still relevant. It contained my New Year's resolutions for 2022. So not this year just past, but the one before. Oh, you're right, it is old. Well, yeah, but still relevant in terms of personal growth, I think. We can still stick the finger in the ashes of this thing and just wiggle it about and see what bones are in there, or something like that. Let me set the scene. 2022, if you recall, was peak sourdough making time. Everyone was making it. Not me, though. I never touch the stuff. I'm too busy buying guitars I'll never play. I endeavour to play more in 2024, she said confidently. Anyway, the year that just passed, 2023, I didn't have any resolutions for that, so we can't go over those ones. We might as well go over the 2022 ones. I thought, since I had to record this anyway, I might as well use it as an opportunity to look at these ones and see if there was anything there that I wanted to revive for this year, 2024. I mean, why not? The work is already done in terms of setting the goals. Maybe just need a little rejiggering. As you are soon to discover, when I wrote this, I used this list as an opportunity to invent some words, one of my favourite things to do. And upon recording this episode, I discovered that writing them is one thing, saying them out loud is another thing entirely. Quite difficult to say, some of them. And I didn't rehearse, of course, before recording this, so I murdered them repeatedly in getting to a usable version, and that's the only one you're going to hear. But just know that I did have some troubles. And these words, brilliant as they were, didn't catch on in the lexicon at large at all. Bummer. The Oxford people did not call me to let me know they'd nominated any of these words as Word of the Year, so fail there too, I guess. Janine, you are rambling. Yeah, I'm sorry. Let's get into it. Let's review my goals and resolutions from 2022 to see if there's any gold in there that I can rehash, reuse, and repurpose. At the end, I will dig into the etymology of these words. Fun? Well, for me, not so much for you. Whatever. Sit back, relax, and pipe some made-up words and Janine thoughts into your willing ear holes. With the post, in lists we trust. It's even hard to say lists. In lists we trust. Of all the seasons, list-making season, happy LMS, is easily the most decorative. Executive? Contraceptive? Pensive? Expensive? Apprehensive? Siri, can you make me a list of all the words ending in "iv"?
Sorry, I can't help with that.
Point is, I love lists. I have never typed that sentence before. I should make a list of all the sentences I have never typed before. I suppose that's just called writing this paragraph. Where was I? Lists. My top 3 favourite lists are 1. Santa's list, naughty or nice, way to get to the nub of it, Nick. 2. Shit list, creates the impetus and motivation for others to get off it. 3. To-do list, good for using up ink and colouring in checkboxes, which is also good practice for government forms and official documents. Of course, a list of one's mortal enemies is also a good list. A mortal enemies list is a next level shit list and differs because a shit list is fluid. People can move on and off and back onto it, whereas mortal enemies are for life, yo. I don't include it here as I have no mortal enemies, and even if I did, I don't think I'd need to write them down to remember them. Rambling, Janine. Sorry. It is January the 10th, 2022. Today is January the 10th, 2022, and I just realised that the peak of list-making season has passed, and I have not yet whipped out a list of resolutions for 2022. I've never officially made one of these before, or never committed one to paper, digital or otherwise, so I thought in the interest of growth and expansion of my heart, mind, soul and word count, I would make one today. Resolutions are not to be confused with goals. I'm a whiz at goal setting, as recent ramblings about stupid arbitrary cycling goals decisively prove. From what I can tell, resolutions are more loosey-goosey, like you can break them instantly and it's no biggie. So I didn't change the world, but I resolved to, and that's all that matters. Sure, I dissolved instead of resolved, but it doesn't get me on Santa's naughty list, so everything is tickety-boo. Moving on, blah blah, have a donut. I don't know exactly how to do a resolutions list, and my instinct is not to write them down lest I be held accountable. But in the interest of moving things along, and once again upping my word count, let's start with what I believe is the crux of the NYRL, New Year's Resolution List. Set your intent. That very sentence, which again I have never written, so have added to the list, is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. But 1. I'm au fait. 2. You're au fait. 3. We're au fait. 4. We're fine. Are you okay? Get with it, etc. Okay, stop stalling. Here I go. New Year's Resolutions 2022 Table of Contents. Resolution number 1. Pina ignis. Pina ignis. Resolution number 2, Stupelingo. Resolution number 3, Offenschut. Resolution number 4, Empanada. Resolution number 5, Hello Thales. Of course I'd write it in code, I ain't no ninny, but the code is tied to the last one in the list, you'll see. And so let us begin. Or prey on it by feeding our sourdough starters or whatever it is you do to unchock your wagon wheel and get to going. Resolution number 1. Pina ignis. Do something that earns an ear burn. Or to put it another way, create something that gets people talking about the thing I make or do in a way that makes my ears burn. This one is hard to describe, which is probably why I invented a word for it. This thing I do, I would hope it is something that I create, is good. It should not be something that'll get me cancelled, even though I think what most people call being cancelled is just being called out for behaviour that you should be called out for. If I mess up, call me the fuck out. Pina ignis means to do something great and have that great thing talked about in a way that sets fire to the tips of the ears in a hot flush way. I had originally used the word divine instead of great, but as Tom York, who must be in a constant state of pina ignis, sings, it's time for something great. So let me get out of my own way and make it. It's not about being viral either. I don't want to be viral. Just to create a hat-doffer moment. Is someone talking about my etchings? Oh, blushes. My ears are burning. They must be. It should be obvious by the way I'm writing about it here that I'd rather the talking be about the work and not me. Have you seen ZYX? Not, did you see what XYZ did? Work first, me second. Get it? Got it. Good. Resolution number 2. Stupalingo. I resolve to write more fuckable language. That's such a crass way of putting it, which is why I invented a word for it. Stupalingo. Make more Stupalingo art. Sing more Stupalingo music. I don't mean to make sexy things to have sex to. You're not getting it. Have you ever read a sentence or a paragraph in the middle of something that stops your heart? Something that sucks the air out of your lungs with its sheer power? Makes you read it again. Note it in your files. It is the face of God created purely in the coitus of consonants and vowels, a piece of writing that soars, sings and harmonizes. It sways its hips. It looks moodily at a sunset. It makes you tingle to the tips of your hair roots. This is Stupalingo, and I want more of it in my life. I want to make it myself for you. It is rare that I chance upon it in my own writing, but very occasionally I feel myself close to the presence of it. I don't think it's something you can actively push for. There's always the danger of pushing too hard and overwriting it directly into a pap grave. But by setting this word in a neon sign in the back of my brain, the flickering dream of it will always be present. When you think about it, it's just a word that means try harder, or don't half-ass it. Make the deadened, lethargic brains of the inspiration-starved hoopleheads horny for your art. That's a directive. Stupalingo your brains out. Resolution number 3. Often shoot. Be of service to the work. Oh, how very greeting card of you, Janine. Stop it with your cynicism. Be of service to the work. When you are exercising often shoot, you are open to receive. Often shoot is letting go. Let go and allow the idea to take you where it dreams of going. Champion it. Recognize when it needs to be euthanized and do it humanely. When you are of service, work flows through you. It laps at the shore. It deposits shells. It changes the shape of you and your thinking. Be a conduit. Practice often shoot. In those moments when I think about money and where it's going to come from, often shoot. When I think about career paths and see people I came up with now standing at the tops of their mountains, and I think to myself, if only I wasn't so prone to self-sabotage as a mechanism to stop me heading down financially stable but personally unsatisfying creative roads, I could be there too. Often shoot. The mantra used to be of service to the work. Now I have a word for it. Often shoot. You might think often shoot only applies to my work outside of the commercial world, but in truth, often shoot touches everything. I care about bringing my best to everything, and if you're in a creative field, often shoot is as relevant for you as it is for the artist slogging away in a workshop or a writer working on weekends on their personal craft. Often shoot is being open to ideas and sharing them with yourself and especially the world. Often shoot is being open to receive by being present. Often shoot is representing the hearts of those ideas in the court of review. Often shoot is never half-assing it, whether you're creating for yourself or for a client. When we are of service to ourselves and not the work, we are slaves to ego. And ego, while a useful tool, is a no-go when it comes to often shoot. This brings me to resolution number 4. Empanada. Be of service to others. How can I help you? How can I be more of service to my community and those in my direct orbit? I'm not a religious person, but things are looking pretty grim in how we're treating each other in this particular moment in time. Live Aid ruined everything. This is something I said to myself on a bike ride the other day, and I instantly felt shame for it because that was a time of such hope. But I know where I'm going with that statement. We live on such a global level as humans now, where all we see are global-sized problems, and those problems are terrifying, crushing. You can't see the forest for the trees is a great saying, but sometimes we should look at those damn trees. Are those trees healthy? Do they need some fertilizer? I remember Live Aid as being a time when it became obvious that we could do things for people on a global scale, and I'm not saying we can't now, but I think a lot about how they say the perfect size for a group of people is about 100. Is that the number? I can't remember. But this idea of community and helping each other on a smaller scale seems a more manageable thing right now. Sure, I can still aim for global and understand those issues, but this year I've decided to be more empanada. I will reach out to friends for no other reason than to check in and see if they need something from me. And if it's just someone to talk to, I will be that person. We all have our daily battles. Isolation has made those battles occur in bunkers with locked doors and people furtively looking out bulletproof portholes. Let's build some tunnels in the neighbourhood, virtual or actual. Though if you do the actual, you will need a permit. Look at me, roping you into my resolution. I don't care what you do. Wait, yes I do. It's lack of caring that got us here in the first place. Empathy, compassion, and caring. If these are words you can't get behind, and everyone for themselves and I'm not going to get mine, here's my boot in your face, is more your motto, I can't help you. Empanada. That's all there is in this bunker. Cross-stitch pattern to come. Resolution number 5. Hello, Thales. This one's easy to talk about, harder to execute. Basically, it means be more inventive. Throw the shackles off my brain and let it run free, naked and unafraid in the top paddock of my noggin. It's not that I'm not inventive or imaginative now, but I know I'm holding back. When you've had a lifetime of creating work that adheres to brand guidelines, you still go hog wild in the ideation phase, but then you filter out the too insane stuff in order to get back to fit within the parameters of what sounds right for the brand. If you work for a brand long enough, you instinctively hone your thoughts to get there quicker. This is not a knock on brand guidelines, by the way. I believe in that shit. I've written a lot of that shit. Not that it's shit. Guidelines save minds. But I find this way of thinking can unintentionally bleed into the approach of my personal projects and maybe, perhaps, I don't know, hold me back. Hello, Thales is simply a reminder to let my brain off its chain. Imagination needs to run wild, then wilder. I have no personal brand guidelines to adhere to, so why not? There is no boundary line with Hello Thales. Let my brain be the lungs of my ideas. Yes, mixed anatomy analogy. But the brain breathes, inhales, exhales, expands, contracts, opens doors and closes them. Ideas surge from one room to another, looking for a way out. The brain can fling open a door and breathe them into the world. Be more Hello Thales, Janine. Don't be scared. You can do it. No one has to know about how far you go. So there you have it. There's my list. And apart from my daily to-do, I think it'll be the only list I make this year. I know at the beginning of this I mentioned that it seemed like the general idea of resolutions is that they're kind of loosey-goosey. And while it seems like it's fine if you break them instantly, I think I might as well thrill Gilbert, which is Janine speak for crush it like a grape. And there you have it. Today's episode, which was about a resolutions list from 2 years ago. Yes, highly relevant. Anyway, I'm not going to rate myself on successes or fails for 2022 because, quite frankly, I can't remember that far back and how well I did. But let's do a quick whiz through the etymology of these words. The first one, Pinna ignis, P-I-N-N-A-I-G-N-I-S, where the definition was to do something great and have that great thing talked about in a way that made your ears burn. Pinna means top of the ear, while ignis was from the Latin for fire. Pretty simple. The second one, stupilingo, was to write more fuckable language. Oh, so crass. So crass. Now, stuping is a euphemism for sex, derived from the Yiddish stupen, S-H-T-U-P-N, meaning to push in. The more you know. And lingo is language. And I pushed the two together, and arrived at stupilingo. Stupilingo seemed more elegant than saying bangalingo. It also makes me think of Blazing Saddles and Madeline Kahn as Lily von Stupp. And she was incredible in that movie. She was incredible in whatever she did, really. Anyway, stupid lingo. I think I should always strive to do that. Keep that one. Often should. There were the little dots over the O. Is that an umlaut? Anyway, it meant to be more open to people, and through that to be of service to the work, your work. Often meaning open, and shoot, well, I was thinking of parachutes and opening them and landing gently and safely on the earth, because you're trusting people in exposing your vulnerability as you work. The open chute. Simples. Resolution 4 was empanada, be of service to others. And I think that's a lifelong one, really, not just a resolution that you make once a year. Be of service to others. It's a combination of the word empathy and combining it with a physical manifestation of understanding, aka nodding while listening and understanding. Empanada. Empanada. And of course, empanadas, which I think we can all agree are delicious. And finally, the last word I invented as part of this exercise was hellothales, which was the word that acted as a reminder to be more imaginative. For that one, I wanted a combination of words that meant welcoming, aka hello, and the name of someone, inventive and imaginative. The obvious first one to go for would have been Da Vinci, but I did not. I found Thales of Miletus. Apologies for pronunciations of names and places. I'm not very good at it. Anyway, Thales was a sort of father of Western philosophy. He invented mathematics. I hate maths, so it's odd that I picked that. But he sounded like a cool cat. He was a, quote, philosopher renowned as one of the legendary 7 wise men, or Sophi of antiquity, end quote. Sophoi. Fails. I bet he could get it. And those were the words. Those were the resolutions. I think you could probably apply all of them just to your life in general. Resolutions are so dumb. Our ears should always be burning. We should strive to make the sexiest art and be more open to sharing more of ourselves creatively. We should be more empathetic and of service to others and allow our minds to run free in the fields of imagination. And on that note, I hope you enjoyed today's episode, as dated as it was. If you did enjoy it or think that I can do better and are willing to give another episode a go in the future, please follow the podcast so that you get a notification when new episodes drop. These missives are designed to inspire creative, inquisitive folk to get out there and make something of their own. Because look at the trash I make. You can do better than this. And with that in mind, love what you love, and I'll see you out there making stuff.